salient features of religion in India. Most European scholars have divided ethnic religions, or rather, religions found in India in two broader categories. Number one, religions which have originated in India, and in that category, mostly they include religions of Hindu families, which we have been discussing, then the religion of the Buddha, and the religion of the Jain Tirthankaraj. They have also included in it religion which is known today as the Sikh faith. There are both similarities and differences between these religious groups. On the other hand, there are religions of Semitic origin or Abrahamic religions. In that case, we have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This has been the traditional classification of religions found in India since 1789. 1789 is the date when William Jones founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal. Then they said Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Even people like Max Weber accepted this ism business, but then there was protest. Why Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, and why not Islamism and Judaism and Christianism? Initially, they did not pay much heed to, because the ruling elite doesn't like opposition or critique, whether it is Indian ruling elite or the global ruling elite. Ruling elite is the ruling elite. But as there was much more collective opposition, they mended their ways, but still there is colonial legacy. In that connection, we have tried to restore some of the undistorted categories of India. And in that context, we shared today, we shared yesterday, and we will be sharing today the critical minimum consensus in contemporary sociology of religion. Yesterday, I quoted from a Western author, who is a contemporary author, John Bowker, and I gave you the date 2007, 2015. There are two editions of the same book. Today, I am giving you another book from ideologically a different spectrum, but there is a small problem which I expect you will manage somehow. The name of the book is The Buddha and His Dham, which was written by Baba Sahab Bhimrao Ambedkar. But I am not sharing the original book. Rather, I am sharing the second edition of the same book, which is published in 2014, only 3 years ago. But this second edition has not come in the English language. It has come in the Hindi language. And uh, although I know that most of you do not know the Hindi language, but I think it is terribly important at least to listen how the Ambedkarite Buddhists the world over, they are not found only in Maharashtra in one particular Dalit caste. Today Ambedkar is a Buddhist icon in his own right. How the devout followers of B.R. Ambedkar look at this issue. Now, let me tell you that as there are three versions of the same Abrahamic religion, and they are known as, there is one religion which was given by Prophet Abraham, but it was differently articulated by the three prophets, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, in the same way. You may not like it, but for us Buddhists, Ambedkar is not a scholar, he is our prophet. And unfortunately, there are supporters who have not read Ambedkar, and there are opponents who have not read Ambedkar. As in the case of other books, the majority of scholars oppose a particular book or support a particular book without reading it. I must say that the religion of the Buddha is also plural, it is not singular. Ambedkar represented one of the interpretations of the earlier teaching of the Buddha. But why he is significant? He is significant because before he converted to Buddhism in 1956, there was nobody in India who claimed in the Indian census that he or she is a Buddhist. Are you getting the point? Therefore, it is not a renaissance of Buddhism in India. It is a discovery of the lost faith. Therefore, he is much more important for Buddhists than Luther, Calvin, or Zwingli are for the Christians. Because Christianity was a living faith when Luther, Calvin, and Zwingli were making critique of Christianity. Are you getting the point? But when Ambedkar was writing the Buddha and his Dham, there was no Buddhism in India, at least as per the record of the census of India. Nobody claimed that he or she is a Buddhist up to 1956. Therefore, he is, in some sense, almost at par with the Buddha for us. But what was the teaching of the Buddha? That I am not important. My path is important. In the same way, Ambedkar is not important, his path is important. Therefore, what Ambedkar wrote is not like the Bible. What the Buddha said was not like the Bible. Are you getting the point? The nature of the religion of the Buddha is qualitatively different from the religion of the other prophets. Other prophets said you, this is the right path, and you should follow this and you should not follow this. The Buddha said, do not follow me. Follow your own inner consciousness. Up Deepo Bhava, become your own light. And this is also the teaching of B.R. Ambedkar. He has interpreted it in his own way. We agree with some of his assertions. And his opponents, make a critique of some of his assertions, because although Buddhism as we know it, came to India in 1956 after his conversion. Okay, but Buddhism was already a well-established religion in Tibet. It was already a well-established religion in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma. It was already a established religion in China and Korea and Japan and many other places. Therefore, the old Buddhist scholars, the Buddhist scholars from other places of the planet do not appreciate the work of Baba Sahib B. R. Ambedkar, and they do think that he had taken some liberty with the teaching of the Buddha. But please remember that Buddhism doesn't teach doctrines, it teaches techniques. Buddhism doesn't teach doctrines about the world and the human life. Rather, it teaches the technique of being at peace with yourself, and it teaches the path of a peaceful society on earth. Peace is not possible in case there are contrary interests or antagonistic interests. Therefore, it also articulates a vision of egalitarian society. But where are the problems? The problems are regarding the terms. Now, what I shared with you yesterday, I am repeating it again because the Hindi rendering of Anand Kausalyan, the editor of the second edition of the book, he's a Buddhist monk, Anand Kausalyan. He's an interpreter. He's John Calvin of B. R. Ambedkar. In case we compare Baba Sahib with Jesus, then Anand Kausalyan is like the Calvin. Therefore, I'll read what he has said, but let me share with you what I shared with you yesterday. The history of religion in India, I said yesterday, is really the history of many independent systems of belief and traditions of practice. That is, the history of religion in India is the history of several religions. And then the second sentence was, nevertheless, they share many concepts and beliefs, even if they make use of them differently. Now the same sentence has been said or has been written by Anand Kausalyan. He says, and I am reading it out. The meaning is the same. What Baukar had said. He is saying, भारतीय संस्कृति के सुपरिचित शब्दों, key terms or technical terms of Indian culture का भारतीय संस्कृति के सुपरिचित शब्दों का सभी धार्मिक परंपराओं में अपना अपना अर्थ वैशिष्ट सुरक्षित रखते हुए भी शब्द साम्य ही वह रज्जु है जो उन्हें एक रूपता के सूत्र में बांधे हुए है. It is a difficult Hindi. I am trying to make a commonsensical translation. The popular key terms of Indian culture use terms as the foundation of unity. But in practice, every religious community interprets it or articulates it within its own terrain in its own way. Are you getting the point? The unity may be found at the terminological level, but the empirical articulation of the key terms in different interpretations, in different religious sects or sampradayas are qualitatively different. Then he said, Dr. Ambedkar ने अपने इस ग्रंथ के द्वारा Sarvajan Parikit. Sarvajan is a term which is used by Mayavati very frequently. This is from Anand Kausalyayan. डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने अपने इस ग्रंथ के द्वारा सर्वजन परिचित शब्दों के बौद्ध अर्थों की विशेषता को प्रकट करने का प्रयास किया है. नाउ आई एम ट्राइंग टू ट्रांसलेट इट इन कॉमन सेंसिकल इंग्लिश. डॉक्टर अंबेडकर हैज ट्राइड टू गिव द बुद्धिस्ट मीनिंग ऑफ द पॉपुलर इंडियन टर्म्स. Even though you encounter a particular term, there are Buddhist meanings, there are Jain meanings, there are Buddhist meanings, there are Jain meanings, there are Sikh meanings, there are Vaishnava meanings, there are Saiva meanings. Are you getting the point? Therefore, the term may be the same, but it doesn't mean that in practice it has similar connotation for all the sampradayas. Then he says, बौद्धों और अबौद्धों में. Now see, he doesn't say Buddhist versus the Hindu. In this book, the Buddha and his Dhamma, Baba Sahab is not contrasting Buddhist with the Hindus or the Jains. What he is saying? He is saying Bodh or Abodh, the Buddhist and the non-Buddhists. Are you getting the point? He is separating the Buddhist with all the rest found in India. Why? I'll explain later on. बौद्धों और अबौद्धों में शब्द साम्य बहुत है. The Buddhists and the non-Buddhists in India share a lot of terms together. बौद्धों और अबौद्धों में शब्द साम्य बहुत है, लेकिन अर्थ साम्य हो ही नहीं सकता. The Buddhists and the non-Buddhists in India share a lot of terms, but the meaning is qualitatively different. Then the last sentence, although I have a longer quotation, बौद्ध परंपरा संपूर्णतया अनात्मवादी है और अबौद्ध समय प्रायः सभी आत्मवादी. It may remind you my yesterday's lecture. Now what he said, John Bowker, that there are systems of belief and traditions of practice. The other scholars have been saying systems of beliefs and practices. He is not saying that. Bowker is saying that there are systems of belief on the one hand and traditions of practice on the other. When you read the book in English, you will think that Bowker is very original author. But when you read Anand Kausalyayan, you understand that the man is only stealing somebody else's work. Anand Kausalyayan is saying, it is in Hindi, please try to understand. What I said yesterday is borrowed from this thinking, Buddhist thinking. बौद्ध परंपरा संपूर्णतया बौद्ध परंपरा is tradition, the Buddhist tradition. Are you getting the point? The Buddhist tradition संपूर्णतया अनात्मवादी है और अबौद्ध समय, very interesting. He is saying Buddhist tradition on the one hand and abodh, non-Buddhist time. Tradition versus time. Now, Anatmavadi. The Buddhists believe that there is no time beyond the moment. There is theory of momentariness among the Buddhists, whereas Hindus have a concept of cyclical time. Are you getting the point? Now, the second important point. डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का यह कथन कि बौद्धों का एक पृथक समाज न होना बौद्ध धर्म के भारत से लुप्त होने के कारणों में से एक कारण है. पेज 356 in the Buddha and his Dhamma. Now, this is terribly important. Baba Sahab Ambedkar is the first scholar of the planet, not only in India, who is saying that there is difference between religion and society. In the Himalayan tradition, which is basically a Brahmanic tradition, religion is equal to society. But Baba Sahab is saying that there is a Buddhist religion. It does not mean there was also a Buddhist society. Are you getting the point? Baba Sahab is saying that there has been a Buddhist religion in India, but there has been no Buddhist society. And this was one of the primary reasons that Buddhism disappeared as a religion from the Indian terrain. I have not heard another author saying like this. I have not heard another author writing like this. Unfortunately, even the admirers of Baba Sahab Ambedkar are not appreciating the intellectual revolutions which he produced in the study of Indic civilization. They are engaging not very proper discourse. Now, this is not the first place, the Buddha and his Dham, where Baba Sahab differentiated between Hindu religion and Hindu society and the Buddhist religion and the Buddhist society. He also referred to the same question when it was asked to him, why you converted to Buddhism and not to Christianity, Islam or Christianity or Sikhism. You must have read or you must have heard at least that Baba Sahab was contemplating that first there should be reform within the Hindu society. And the first movement which he waged in India in 1920s was not for reservation of seats for the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes. It was for the temple entry. Are you getting the point? He wanted entry of the Mahar caste in Maharashtra, those who were regarded as so-called, untouchable caste, or which are referred as Dalits today. There was, ban of their entry in the temples. And the first movement which he led in Maharashtra was for the temple entry. The question is, why? And the answer is very simple. The so-called Dalits of India are one of the most religious communities of India. This is not my belief. This is something which I have discovered through fieldwork, and you can discover it within this campus also. There are many women of scheduled caste background in the campus who knows much more than the professors of JNU who teach about Indian culture and Indian religion. I do not remember the name of the lady, but her husband was a Safai Karmachari in Narmada Hostel when I was the warden there. And she was one of the most reliable guide for understanding many of the technical rituals which was not explained to me when I visited the professors who teach in JNU Sanskrit department. Then I went to Lal Bahadur Shastri Sanskrit Vidyapit near the Kutub, institutional area, and they have no idea what does it mean. What I wanted to say is that the folk element of Indian culture is much more important than the classical element. Why? Because the classical scholarship of India is a hybrid scholarship, which is the product of a strange mixture of Indology, Orientalism, and Brahmanism. Now, what does it mean? It means three things. The same term may have multiple connotations. Take one popular term, Brahmin. Brahmin is also a caste, but there are different groups which claim to be Brahmins, and one group claims that all others are inferior to them. But Brahmin is also a Varna, an ideal model of society. And then Brahminism is also a political ideology. Now, most people confuse between the three. Some people think, and there are paragraphs in Baba Sahib Ambedkar as well, that Buddhists do not believe in Varna. There are three positions on it. In case you take the Brahminical meaning of the Varna, which is based on birth, and which equates caste and Varna together, Buddhism, of course, dismisses it because it is bullshit. But in case you think that Buddhists have also a model of society, then it is certainly not a caste society. It is certainly not a class society. It is certainly not a society based on racial superiority or inferiority. But it doesn't mean that it does not acknowledge natural or artificial superiority to do a particular type of work. In that case, Buddhists also believe in practice, if not in theory, in a particular notion of Varna system, which is not based on birth and which is exclusively based on your inherent or learned quality and your capacity to perform a particular type of work. You know why Varna and why not class? Because in the class society, they discuss only rights but not duties. In social stratification, you must have read many authors. They talk about economic criteria to determine lower class, middle class, and upper class. But they have a different concept to discuss duty, and it is discussed in the concept of vocation. Science has a vocation, politics has a vocation by Max Weber. Buddhists believe that economic stratification is meaningless. It is certainly not desirable in case it has no ethical implication for the welfare of all. Therefore, in the concept of Varna, the Buddhists combine the concept of open stratification and ethical duty to perform for the other. Are you getting the point? In case you are going to take this Buddhist interpretation of the Varna, Buddhists will say there is nothing wrong in the Varna concept, but this is a Buddhist meaning which is not shared by the Hindus. And therefore, in case Hindus will not agree to this concept of the Varna, then the Buddhists will also oppose your concept of the Varna which is based on birth. Are you getting the point? You know, what is at issue? The issue is equality. The issue is fraternity. The issue is liberation. Buddhism does not recognize that your present misery is the product of your past life. Are you getting the point? Therefore, Buddhists vehemently oppose Brahmanism, the political ideology, which says that a person born out of the womb of a Brahmin mother and the sperm of a Brahmin father is superior only on the basis of birth. Buddhists believe everybody is equal in society, both living beings and non-living beings. Therefore, in Buddhism, animal rights are there, natural rights are there, and humanism is not accepted by the Buddhists. What is humanism? Humanism is a bad thing, unfortunate, like a spiritualism. But in India, people claim that I am a humanist. What is the meaning of humanism? That man is the measure of everything else, including nature, animal, and God. Humanism is the foundation of capitalism. Because humanism believes the whole planet is for the consumption of human beings. Buddhism denies this. Buddhism says that a man had equal right on the resources, natural or man-made, with his non-human brothers and sisters. Therefore, in Buddhism, the nature and animals and birds and insects have equal rights. Secondly, from the very beginning, Buddhism believed in gender equality. And just to remind you, in Buddhism, Ambapali, who was the first Buddhist woman of the planet, Ambapali, the prince, the court dancer of Vaisali, which is the first republic on earth with Athens, is regarded almost at par than the Buddha, because she is the founder of Vajrayana sect of Buddhism. Now the question is, in case I have to sum up my argument, what is my understanding as a sociologist about religions in India? There are three types of religions. Number one, and I am giving you the reverse order, because I am not teaching you religion of India, I am teaching you sociology of religion in India. Please remember, there is difference between the two. Sociology is a European science of society. Therefore, they began with them. Therefore, the first category is a Brahmanic religion, that is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And what is their common terrain? Number one, they all have prophets. The Jews have Moses. They accept that Moses was not the first Jewish prophet, but they ignore previous prophets in favor of Moses. Therefore, the Jews have Moses, the Christians have Jesus, and Muslims have Muhammad as the best interpreter of their religious doctrine. I am not saying giver, because the Prophet Muhammad never claimed he is the giver. He said he is the interpreter, he is the messenger of God. Jesus is a different category, but I am coming to that. The second common feature, I am not talking about differences at the moment. The second common feature between the three religions is that they have a sacred book. First, they have a sacred person. First, they have a sacred person called the Prophet. Then they have a sacred book, which is a mandatory read for all the believers. It is mandatory to read the religious text. It is mandatory to believe in the sacredness of the Prophet. And third, they have a very organized liturgy, liturgy, very organized, institutionalized liturgy, that is uniform mode of worship. Third, is clear? Fourth, all the three religions are monotheistic. All the three religions are monotheistic. Fourth, they claim to be universal religion, although they originated in a particular locality. So far as origin is concerned, they were local, but they claimed to be universal religion, and they are easily accepted as world religion, although in terms of population, the number is uneven. Christians outnumber the Muslims, and Muslims outnumber the Jews. Jews are a minuscule population, very small population. Now let us come to the Indian religious groups. We have two types of religious groups in India. One, which is today roughly understood as Indic religion. Indic religion. Now, usually it is said, and it is there in Indian Constitution, that in Indian Constitution written by, again, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, but then he was not converted to Buddhism. He was a Hindu then. He included the Buddhists, the Jains, and the Sikhs within the Hindu personal law. Until specified clearly, the Indian Constitution does not differentiate between, so-called Hindu religions, the Buddhist religions, the Jain religions, and the Sikh religions. Not only this, the Indian Constitution does not differentiate between the Hindus and the Zoroastrians or Parsis. Not only this, Indian tribes have political right but they are also covered within the Hindu law. Are you getting the point? The Indian tribes have political right but no religious life. And you know who emphasized that they should be classified within the Hindu law? The tribal leaders. Because once you claim to be different from the Hindus, then you do not enjoy the reservation benefit. The moment you become a Christian or a Muslim, you do not enjoy the reservation benefits. Therefore, the tribal group said, we are also Hindu. Now, the second interesting point is that, do you know, there was a person called Swami Vivekananda who founded the Ramakrishna Mission, and in Calcutta High Court, the case is still pending. Ramakrishna Mission had filed a case in 1980s, early 1980s, that we are not Hindus, we are Ramakrishnites. Do you know? Therefore, my submission is this. This is a very chaotic situation because the teachers have political agenda, the students have also political agenda. Most people are interested in doing their duty mechanically. You know, I have to finish my course, you have to get your grades. Fine, tata, bye bye. Nobody is trying to understand the complexity called India. Unless and until you understand this, your life will be not comfortable. Therefore, my submission is this: forget European sociology of religion for a moment. Try to develop your own sociology of religion on the basis of insights provided by people like Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Do not dismiss him because he was born in a Dalit family. Jesus was also born in a Shepherd family. No prophet was born in the priestly class. कोई प्रोफेट दुनिया में ब्राह्मण के घर में पैदा नहीं होता. God has been somehow very angry with the caste Brahmins the world over, the priestly class which believes in hereditary right to officiate at the rituals. God is a democrat. Therefore, try to understand what has been the Indian situation. There is a Hindu society. Hindu means those who are born and brought up on the bank of the river Sindhu. The term Sindhu is translated into Persian as Hindu, and it is translated into Greek as Hindu. It doesn't make any difference whether you call it Indian, whether you call it Hindu, or whether you call it Sindhu. You are just fighting on terms. You are not trying to understand the content. What is the content? Baba Sahib says, in India, there is a common heritage, cultural heritage. There is one Samaj and many religions. And what is religion in India? Religion is the order of priests and monks, Nabunis and Granthis. The society is one. Therefore, what was the case during the time of the Buddha? There was Hindu Acharya, there was Jain Acharya, there was Buddhist Acharya. and it was free for the society whether to consult a Buddhist or a Jain or a Hindu. Now, who they were? They were the Smartas, and they are still the dominant core of Indic religion, the Smartas. Who are the Smartas? Who do not think that it is mandatory to read a book, who do not think that it is mandatory to follow the same guru, the same prophet, the same muni, the same bhikkhu all the time, who consults a religious expert whenever the time arises, who do not think that it is mandatory to go to the temple or the church or the mosque or the Buddha Vihar or the Jain place of worship or the Gurudwara on the daily basis or on the weekly basis or on the monthly basis or on the yearly basis, who may go whenever the need arises. And today he may go to a Shiva temple, tomorrow he may go to a mosque, third day to a church, the fourth day to a Buddhist monk. Are you getting the point? In India, religion has been like the mall. 90% of Indian population is not religious. It is wrong to say that Indians are religious or spiritual in the Western sense of the term. Then what is their salient feature? The salient feature of the Smartas of India has been that they believe that God is within. It is not outside. The Smartas believe that time is God. Time is Shiva. Time is not money, as Max Weber or Benjamin Franklin or Calvin says. Time is Shiva, Kalyankari. And what is the space? The space is the body of Shakti, the female deity, Kali. Time is Shiva and space is Kali. Now, why Shiva and Kali and not Vishnu? Because the first historical settlement in India is known as the Indus Valley civilization, where Pasupati is found, Vishnu is not found, Ganpati is not found. Are you getting the point? Shiva is the oldest deity of India. And what is his nature? He is Nirgun Nirakar. And in Shiva temple, you have all the species. For example, whenever you enter the Shiva temple, you do not find a god, Lord Shiva. You also found a Nandi bull. You also find a snake. You also find river, Ganga, in the Jata. You also find moon. Not only this, what he is offered bale, dhatura, bhang, belapatra. Therefore, the Shiva temple of Indus Valley civilization represented the cosmos. Since you are the child of the cosmos, there is no need for a mediator. Priest is not needed. Prophet is not needed. Acharya is not needed. Muni is not needed. Sadhu is not needed. God is Nirgun Nirakar. You can call him Shiva, but you can also call her Tripur Sundari. Tripur Sundari is the name of the primordial goddess who is represented in India as Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali. And then the Mahakali gives birth to Lakshmi, Saraswati and Parvati. Sorry, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Kali. Therefore, what is happening? What is happening? Please try to understand. Indians are saying there is one God, but that God is not person. That God is a force, a spiritual force, cosmic force. It has no roop, no form, no gun, no quality. It cannot be conceived, it cannot be communicated. Upanishads call it neti neti. The Buddha called it shunya, zero. The God is a zero, infinite zero. And human life consists of moments. Are you getting the point? Therefore, in other societies, you have one religion and that is manifested in society. Here, religion is like a shop and society is like your home. In your home, you are free. This is the basic difference between Indic religion and other religions. Coming week, we have our visiting faculty, Professor Ravindra Ray, who will be giving 3 lectures to you. And then Professor Vivek Kumar will give 1 lecture. Because I am going, you know that I am a devout Buddhist, I am going to Sikkim to teach senior priests who are working in America and Europe. I am going on my religious vacation and therefore I have invited some faculty members. They are certainly better teachers than me. Therefore, we'll enjoy them. But in case you wanted to read, this Smarta society, although they will give you the name of Hindu society or Indic society, 3 books I am recommending to you, not prescribing, just suggesting. B.R. Ambedkar, The Buddha and His Dhamma, but that gives one view. The second Buddhist view has been provided by a person called Anand Kentis Kumar Swami, and the name of the book for you is Hinduism and Buddhism. And the third book is T.H. Prabhu, Pandharinath H. Prabhu, Hindu Social Organization. This is an old book published in 1939, and then the name of the book was different. It was named Hindu Social Institutions. Hindu Social Institutions. It was published from Calcutta on August 12, 1939. This is the 3rd edition which I have at the moment. This book is important. Why? Because no sociologist will refer to you. Kyun bhai? Because they all, they all take the credit of this man. T.N. Madan is regarded as a very original sociologist. Half of his ideas have been taken away from B.R. Ambedkar and half from this man. But they will not give credit. This is a very bad habit of modern scholars. They do not quote the source. They do not quote the source. One book which made T.N. Madan famous was a book called Non-Renunciation. The idea was taken over from B.R. Ambedkar. Never quoted him. What he is saying? He is saying that non-renunciation or sannyas is not the mainstream of Hindu society. This is the same distinction which Baba Sahib is making. Hinduism as a religion and Hinduism as a society. Religion in India is the religion of the monk, religion of the priest, whereas the society is the grihastha, householder, the society of householder. Are you getting the point? Now this book is named Hindu Social Organization, and the subtitle is A Study of the Socio-Psychological and Ideological Foundations of the Hindu Social Organization. This is not a recommended book for examination. This you should read only when you are ready to read two other books, Kumar Swami, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and this. These three books give you, they will not give you the answer, but they will give you insights to understand your society.